Okay, guys, welcome to this other part of this lecture. Like this time around, today we're going to talk about sharing promises, like I indicated in the README. So this is what we're going to talk about. So without delaying, let's dive in. Let's create a file. Make sure that you create it inside this folder. So I'll say file two. Okay, we're done with file two. So we have file three, and we give the extension, which is .js. Yeah. So now shading promises itself, sometimes you often need to perform like some multiple async operations like sequentially, right? So promises do make this very, very elegant, like make it very, very smooth. So let's create some functions now. So we can work, we can just call this one shading promises, right? Okay, so now we use the function keyword and we create a function called fetch. Let's say use time around. Let's say use data, and you always want your names of your function or the variables you're creating to use the comma case. Comma case is starting with this lowercase and any other added word. We use a comma case that starts with a cap and cap, and as much as you want to add, you continue using the capital letter to start up, or yes, the uppercase letter to start up whatever name you want to add to your function. That is what comma case is. Okay, there's a snake case, there's comma case, and there's a lot of that, so you can actually go learn about it. So, but in JavaScript, you should follow the comma case structure of creating name variables or functions, or yeah, that is it. So yeah, we actually want to return a new promise this time around. So we return new and promise, right? So in this promise, we're going to create a function. Let's call the function, let's just say, it always takes into parameters. We have the first one, which is the resolve, and the reject. So don't forget about that. So basically, we actually want to do something that's to say, like set the timeout. We always do. Okay, so we create a empty function here for the timeout, and we want to say let success, like we did at the top there, right? So let success be equal to true, like I told you that the success itself is kind of simulate the successful fetching of the data, right? So yeah, so that's what you need to understand. So I think, uh, yeah, let me do it this way. So let me see where the error is coming from. So initially, okay, what I did here, I did not indicate that it's a function. That is why I'm getting this error, because it's supposed to be a function. Okay, so yeah, you can see the error has gone out. So always try to make sure you do the right thing. So we use the if statement to check this time around. So we want to check this success if it's, sorry, if it will bring, if it gets the actual correct data, like fetching the correct data, or if it's encountered an error. So we use the resolve to confirm if the data has been fetched successfully by using the resolve keyword to get the fetch data, right? So user data fetched. So this is just what we're going to output to the console, right? So let's just say successfully. Okay, so yeah, so the next thing we want to do, we use the reject to also print out any errors we encounter. So we say else, okay, print this. So we just say reject, just like that, right? So we can say error fetching data, okay, fetching data. Yeah, so that's what we're gonna do, right? Yeah. So the next thing we do is to actually set the timeout at this next line there. So we set the timer to always 2000 seconds, which is 2 seconds, right? So here we just add our semicolon. Make sure you add your necessary semicolons, okay? So what we want to do this time around, we actually want to share the promise, okay? So we say sharing promises, okay? So what we want to do, we bring out the fetch data function we created at the top here, right? So we say fetch date, fetch user data, okay? So that's the function there, and we use the dots then, okay? I already told you that you can actually put it here, but for code, for proper code implementations, you do it this pattern, okay? So you bring create a new function, and this time we want to use the user. We want to pass in the user data as the function that we're creating inside this our initial data, initial function that we created, which is the promise itself. Okay. So this time around, we're trying to change the promise. Okay. So that's what we're doing. So we want to just console log something to the screen, which is this user data that was fetched or that has been fetched. Okay. So or we can kind of return something else, which is let's just say return promise. Okay. Let's just say user data. Okay. Let's say okay, but this time let's just say process this time around. So we want to process this user data. Okay, so we want to process this user data. So what we want to do? So we actually want to use the user data. So we want to process this user data. That's what we want to do there. Sorry for this. Okay, so yeah. So we're gonna end that there. So or then what we want to do this time around, we actually still want to create the same function. Okay, and the process data. Okay, what we want to do this time around, we actually want to console log this process data that has been returned at this other line there, at this other function at the top there. Okay, so that's what we actually want to return, right? So, we want to console log to the screen. Okay, so it's a console log process data. Okay, so that's what we want to console log to the screen. Then, if maybe perhaps we encountered errors, we can actually console log that one also to the screen. Okay. So we say, let me just clear this. I think I got some claims around. Sorry about that. So we use dot cache this time around. So that's caching any errors that we encounter. So we say function, okay, and what we want to do, sorry for that. Basically, we'll cache the errors, okay. So here we're passing the two parentheses, and this time around, we're trying to catch some errors here. That is in case we encounter an error. So we'll console log the errors so that we can be able to debug the errors and fix it. All right. So that is what we have done there. So that is all for these sharing promises. Okay. So that's what you need to do to share the promises and how it is being used in your code. Okay. So this is what you need to understand. So basically, like I said, we share two promises: fetch user data and process user data. So that is the two promises that we kind of fetch sequentially. Okay. So let's try to run this and see what we'll get, if there will be any errors, if there will be anything. So we'll definitely gonna know, right? So you can see, okay, we got the user fetch data successfully, but it showed us some process user data that is not used. It is not being it is undefined, like it's not defined because yeah, we actually didn't create any function there. We didn't actually create the we are just using the function within this our first user data. So that is why you got that error. So the next and the last thing we're going to talk about is async and await. Okay, so I will indicate it here. So that's what we're going to talk in the next class. So this one is async and await. Okay, so that's the thing and the last thing we're going to talk about. So see you in the next video. Bye bye and take care.